Hey guys, today I'm taking you to a very interesting place. It's in Saugus, Massachusetts. It's the first place on the Western Hemisphere that the iron was produced. Morning. Is the order open?
What?
Is it open?
Yeah, it's all open.
Great, thank you. Maybe we can come later.
The bellows pumps air into the fire to keep the fire going. Wow. Yeah, I see it. All right, baby. I think we have to go.
So we're here.
I think it just
This is
goes
Boston?
until it turns out by itself. Why don't we go this way?
Yeah, that's how they split iron into smaller pieces.
I think that's probably this way. Whoa, look at that.
Okay, so they needed iron to make pans to produce salt. Because remember, that was like 400 years ago. Salt was not like you couldn't go to a supermarket to buy it. You had to make everything.
So you know the bridge that we were on with the wheelbarrow? That's the same one. Let's show you the same one. You wanna show Akka?
Where's he going?
See, every piece of that equipment that is needed here was also made of iron. Blast furnace
Oh, Axel, here's
tools
another button you can press.
for iron
over here,
making.
okay? We didn't do this button over here.
This is how the furnace works. So they used charcoal for smelting and reducing the iron ore to the metallic iron.
You have to lift him up to see.
Is that what I have to do?
Yeah.
Thanks, honey. I don't think I would have figured it out.
So the log fire is lit.
Guys, how come it would stick?
Number 1.
So, the wheel is spinning that big
The
hammer.
last begins using charcoal and iron air from the bellows. Number 2. Charcoal, iron ore, and gabbro. Gabbro is, I think, it's a mineral that helps separate iron from the garbage. Okay, the smelting begins here. At regular intervals, the clay plug is broken and the impurities in the form of slag are run off. Okay, so the whole thing was divided into 3 parts.
That's one.
The blast furnace, where the iron was melted. The forge, where the iron products were forged into different products. And the rolling mills that provided energy
Where's that one?
for forging. And the products,
Oh, here's another button.
they produced cast iron or processed cast iron
Oh,
into
is that the hammer? That's the hammer right there, Axel.
flats or
That's the
nail
actual
rods.
hammer. Look how big it is. This is the hammer head right here.
Okay, this is
Used to
part
have
of
a
the
big timber shaft going through the hammer head.
water
And it'll come
wheel
up and smack down on
that
the
they
iron
discovered.
So this is the real thing. That's the model in there. Did you see the? Did you see the model?
What?
You see the thing that's lifting up and down in here? The part that's hitting. That's that hammerhead right there.
So they discovered that wheel in 1951 only. Probably, it's probably 350 years old.
What's this one? Did you do this one already? Push that one?
That's what it looked like. This part was submerged
That one's
in
good
water,
right
I
there.
guess.
So 2 massive overshot water wheels with the rolling and sliding motor generated tremendous power to be flat and sliced to rock.
Yeah, iron works are close to my heart because I spent my formative years in Nowa Huta, which is a steel mill, one of the biggest steel mills in Poland. Had a population of 300,000 people. Yeah, this is what it looked like in real life. Maybe you will get to see it outside. So the iron would flow this way, and then in those molds it would probably solidify. Very crude, but it worked. So these are the archaeologists who excavated the Saugus ironworks in the late 40s and early 50s, and then reconstructed this site. So he was a amateur archaeologist who supported himself by working as a handyman. Interesting. This is the bird's eye view of Saugus. Okay, so first people who worked here were the Puritans, and the Puritans needed slave labor. So the slave labor were prisoners from Scotland and Ireland, probably, because nobody sane would like to work this kind of demanding job. Lots of heavy lifting. 4,000 Scottish prisoners of war were marched. Some of them probably died. Only 3,000 arrived in Durham in Scotland. So then I guess they were transported to the colonies. Okay, so holding them was costly. Also, those who were in good physical shape were gradually released to serve in industry, agriculture, and the military. 150 men were transported to New England. They were working here as indentured servants, so they were slaves basically. They were purchased and belonged to someone else for a period of around 7 years, during which they were treated as labor. English settlers often came voluntarily as indentured servants, so their position was not unusual. After serving their term, the Scots prisoners could expect to regain their rights and privileges as freeborn citizens. So they had to work for 7 years. If they survived, they were free. 300 years anniversary of the settlement. The Scottish war prisoners. 150 of them. Okay, so this is the hammer and anvil, the forge anvil. So this is the hammer part, and this is the anvil. It looks like it's made from the tree trunk. The tree trunk is already heavily degraded by the 300 years of bacteria. It was probably submerged in water. 500 pounds, so it's like 250 kilos. This cast iron hammer. So this is made of the oak, huge oak anvil base, installed over 300 years ago. That's insane. It's a testament to how durable the oak wood is.
Into a marvel of European technologies.
That parcel of land shall be overflowed by a pond of water, sufficient to erect a new watercourse.
He dammed the river, channeling its raw power into a sophisticated system of hydraulics. The surge of water drove enormous wheels, providing energy to run the ironworks. He built a huge blast furnace to smelt iron ore. Giant water-driven bellows fanned the fires to a raging 3,000 degrees.
A torrent of liquid fire is made so very fluid by the violence of the heat. When it is let out of a hole at the bottom with a long poker, it runs the distance of the furnace, and it stands boiling in them for a considerable time.
Once the iron cooled, laborers carried it next door to the forge, where skilled workers purified it. Using a 500-pound trip hammer, they transformed the brittle cast iron into malleable raw iron, ready for the marketplace. Finally, Leader built a slitting mill, one of only a dozen in the world. Here, his men engineered a complex process for rolling out rods for nail making, nails that would help build the Puritan colony. To feed the ironworks' insatiable appetite for fuel, men felled entire forests, processed them into charcoal, and poured it into the blast furnace, along with bog iron ore and the purifying mineral gabbro. The process at Saugus was so sophisticated that Leader had to recruit highly skilled workers from Britain to run the ironworks.
The ironworks requires many ingenious heads and hands, men skillful in the contriving of water courses, stamping mills, engines for drying waters, refining.
The investors, always looking to trim costs, sent Scottish prisoners of war against their will to perform unskilled labor. The 100 or so men and boys who labored in the ironworks were tough, and hard-working. And because they were non-Puritans, they were considered outsiders in the eyes of the tight religious community. Every day, they risked their lives, working long, grueling shifts in this loud and dirty place. In the blink of an eye, a limb could be burned or crushed.
Mind your fingers!
It is important to drain away the moisture from the furnace. Should any drop of water come into the metal, it'll blow up the furnace, and metal will fly about your ears.
But within this hazardous crucible of earth, air, fire, and water, John Winthrop saw his vision materialize.
Ironworks go along with more hope. The furnace runs 8 tons per week, and the bar iron is as good as Spanish.
By 1650, Richard Leader's ironworks in the New World was operating at a level of production that rivaled any in Europe. Day and night, for months upon end, the Saugus blast furnace roared, generating enough iron to make the growing colony more independent of England. But it was also generating something that the Puritans hadn't bargained for. Nearby, in the company town of Hammersmith, the laborers who worked hard also played hard. They drank, fought, failed to attend church, and dared to dress like wealthy.
Is that Korean?
Yes. Yeah.
You go to Korea?
Uh-huh.
Oh, your wife? Maybe?
My wife's Korean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It means foreigner.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, gaijin in Japanese.
Oh, gotcha.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
Wife of
Oh,
Joseph Jackson is fined for wearing silver lace.
What are you doing? You want to look around the ironworks? He's looking at stuff.
Meanwhile, the ironworks had its own.
Do you want to watch TV or you want to look at
Okay, so the Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded by Puritans. The same people that built
Learn
Boston.
about stuff. You want to learn about stuff too?
Yeah, I want to learn about history.
Yeah.
It's very
You like
interesting.
museums, actually?
Look at that color.
What do you see?
See that color.
You should come closer and see it.
See that color?
Oh, looks like a turtle to you?
Yeah.
Let's see, let's take a look. What do we got here? Looks like we have some spoons. That looks like it might be a little knife. Oh, there we go. We've got 5, what is 5? Scissor sections. Oh, those are part of scissors axle.
Oh, so those are the different objects that they produced
Yeah.
from iron.
Well, I think they mostly the mill produced
Some heavy,
slats.
yeah,
and-
slats, yeah.
Yeah.
So this required more processing, more skilled labor.
Right. Yeah. So it seems like they would sell those to like forge makers and they'd make this stuff out of. That's what I'm guessing.
No, I think you're right, yeah.
Without actually reading anything on the walls.
Yeah, definitely those unskilled laborers, they would not be able to
Yeah.
make those
Look,
objects.
it's one of my friends.
I'm surprised that they're still not like corroded.
Yeah. Right.
So if they use like a charcoal, they probably there's some coal dissolved in this, so it's kind of like steel-like maybe
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
properties.
Well, so I don't know if you've been there yet, but
Yeah.
there's very few pieces left from the actual mill.
Oh,
Like I think there's only a couple. Like
I saw
maybe-
the wind water wheel.
Yeah. But like I think I saw one thing. Like down there by the forge, past the water wheel,
Uh-huh.
it was like these are the only objects that were actually found at.
Also, they just reconstructed those.
Yeah.
Everything is. It's like after 300 years.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Look at
Which is
Expected.
Metal's interesting.
Yeah,
if
I-
you take care of it, it lasts.
Yeah, iron would not like last in water for long.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's check the time. Let's go on. You want to walk around some more? Yeah?
Mom,
She's in the car feeding your brother.
I want to put a flag.
You wanna go back? Do you
I
wanna
want
go
to put a flag with these.
You wanna go to the driver's seat? Alright. Let's go.
In the 1600s, on the banks of the Saugus River, something extraordinary happened. Here, in the New England wilderness, a group of men and women were struggling to breathe.
Well, have a good one.
Oh yeah, thank you, thank you. I just started.
He's gonna go check out the water.
Oh, those are raspberries. Wild raspberries, probably. Oh, lilac. It's past the flowering. Oh, that's nice. Nice area. Okay, so this is the blast furnace, which is this one. Then the forge, that, and the rolling steel and mill, the last one. Warehouse, and there's also a warehouse number 4. The small building down there. I like the rich vegetation of this place. So many plants. Wheelbarrow. In Polish that's called taczki. Taczki. Wow, okay, so that's the water wheel that provides energy. So there are two of them. One is even located here, and there's another one in that building number 3. Okay, so this is where they would dump. Ore, iron ore, and the charcoal. This is the inlet, and the outlet is down in the bottom. Nice area. It's very swampy, so they used to actually get the iron ore from this swampy area. It was a product of bacteria working for thousands of years. Yeah, it looks pretty authentic. So this is probably all stone because it has to be heat resistant to the heat coming from the furnace, and everything else can be wood. Flow of the water in the overshot wooden wheel generated the constant horsepower needed to operate the huge bellows. Oh, so the bellows needed power. Bog iron ore, it's called limonite, was dug from stagnant ponds and swamps. Each year up to 1,000 tons of ore were delivered to the furnace. Yeah, I remember seeing that even in Poland. That kind of mineral. Gabbro was used as a fluoxine agent to help separate the garbage from the iron. Charcoal was the fuel. I love that old tree to the left. It looks very old, probably more than 100 years. Even 400 years ago, people knew the simple principles of physics and they knew how to take advantage of them. And they knew a little bit of chemistry too. They didn't understand it, they didn't know how it works. But it was just the result of trial and error of hundreds or maybe thousands of years of observing nature. Contacting different materials with each other at different temperatures, and they slowly figured it out. Yeah, the Iron Age probably started like 1000 years BC, depending on the part of the world. So it's like about 3000 years of knowledge. I love the smell of this place. It smells of wood and some kind of minerals like iron rust. Oh yeah, it smells like my grandma's barn actually. Very similar. There's some lubrication here for rotate to lower the friction of rotating parts. Yeah, last time I came here, there was a guide or person who explained the history of this place, but I don't see that kid anymore. It was like a high school kid. This must be super heavy. Yeah, it's a couple, maybe one or two people need to lift it, and this is the iron ore, I guess. Yeah. Oh no, this is already crude iron. It's not the ore. Okay, so this is the forge. It's called the Bloom. That's what we've seen. So the brittle cast iron was changed into tough, strong, flexible wrought iron. To the sound of 4 water wheels turning, the bellows flapping and the ground shaking. Oh, okay, so they needed the heat. Okay, so these are the bellows. They needed oxygen delivered by the bellows, the charcoal, to produce heat. So they melted the crude iron, they heated it up here, and then they smashed it with those with the hammers to produce wrought iron. Those are the hammers. So basically they removed porosity. From a porous material, it became like a very solid material that can be used for making other things. immovable. Okay, so this is the rolling slitting mill. Oh wow, that was a chipmunk. You see that? Chipmunk? Okay, this is where they slit the flats and they produce nail rod for making nails. That was the final product, I guess. Wow, the smell is amazing. The smell of all the oak wood. It doesn't look very different from my grandma's barn, seriously. Okay, so this part was providing heat, so they heated the flats to make it softer, and then that machine cut it into like a narrow pieces, and then they could cut it further to produce nails. Yeah, I kind of like this. It's worthy of taking a picture. I'm not sure if I've been in this part before. Maybe it was closed last time when I came here. Yeah, I believe it was closed. So the guide is missing, but this location is available. You can smell? Yeah, these are the flowers that smell. Oh yeah, oh yeah. They smell like honey. Let's go for a walk. Whoa, I need to discover this place. Last time I came here, a year ago or 2 years ago, maybe that was 2 years ago. Oh, I was able to see the egret. So yeah, so there's a bunch of tools. Looks like a forgery maybe. Place where there's a bellow. So they definitely melted the iron. What does it say actually? Okay, this is the blacksmith shop. Okay. Steel was not made here at the iron works. It was imported for the smith use and valued for the hardness it provided to much needed edged tools. Okay, so they just produce different tools, but this is doesn't have properties of the steel. The steel has a high percentage of carbon dissolved in iron, maybe like 3%. Oh, mushrooms. So this could definitely not produce such material. Are they edible? I love the smell of mushrooms. Wow, they are a little bit. Oh yeah, they are a little bit wet. Well, so the best way to find out, usually I don't eat mushrooms with the gills unless I know them. So the best procedure to follow in Eastern Europe, when you go mushroom hunting, you follow two principles. If you find a mushroom, first of all, stay away from the gilled mushrooms if you don't know them. Oh, you see that bird with the red colored cap behind his head. So you first of all you pick up mushrooms that have mesh under the head, not gills. And the second rule, number 2, take a small chunk and taste it. If you taste bitterness or anything weird, do not take it home.